What's up, guys? Quick video going over what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow. To start, we're going to be keeping an eye on these major tech levels. Amazon has got this ginormous gap down to 126. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this 132.8 level I have marked. Tons of room to fall below. Along with Amazon, we have Microsoft and the 274 level. The large volume shelf up in this area. Volume pretty much falls off. Sorry. What am I talking about? Volume falls off below 274. All the way down here, around 273.2. If we get Microsoft below 273.2, we got a lot of room to fall below this. We do have this gap. All right, looks like we filled the gap today, but below 273, I don't know why 274 went down. Below 273, volume pretty much falls off down to 267, 268, and then 265. Lastly, for tech, the big level that I'm looking at is Apple. Had a pretty weak close, down a little bit after hours, but let's see, is it still holding on to 167? It's right at 167. So 167 on Apple. Below that, we get this giant volume shelf down at 165.5. So we saw a pretty large bounce off of it this morning, but we're retesting it quite a bit. So let's see if we can get a little bit of a breakdown there. From a SPY perspective, we filled the gap today, bounced right off that gap fill support, and that daily is still looking right in that chop zone. We're in this, like I mentioned yesterday, we're in this giant zone of pretty much just chop. And we saw that in action today. We were just chopping around after that gap down, and pretty much all we're going to be looking for. Sorry, we didn't gap down today. The main level that I'm going to be looking for on SPY is below 410. 410 is a big cycle level. It's been a big level for the past couple months. So if we can break down below 410, I'm looking at 408, and then below that we got 403. So 410 and 408 are the main supports. There are a couple triggers that worked pretty well yesterday. Roku to begin with. This was I think we had 70.7 or somewhere around there. This was breaking down pretty nicely today. Really doesn't look like it has any support around this area. So from 70.3 down to 66.3, if we can get a pop to short at the open, back up to the 70.3 range, a nice retest. So not a bad short opportunity for continuation. Lift below 15.2. This one did not break today. We had a run up at open, and this really never broke down. So we're going to keep this same 15.2 trigger on lift for this gap fill down to 14.17. Uber looks incredibly bearish to me. We had that late day breakdown. It's down a little bit after hours, but not much. It broke this major 27.8 level. 27.9 level, and it has this giant gap. So Uber and Lyft are, they move together. We're going to be watching these two. If Uber can break down, we can get that Lyft breakdown at that 15.2 level. MRVL, talked about this last night on this trend line break that we were going to be eyeing at open. This worked perfectly. Broke that trend line on a gap up and just ran. I'm going to be watching this for continuation. I see a little bit of a falling wedge on this 15-minute. It's not the greatest one, but we are making lower highs and we're making lower lows. So if we get a break of this upper trend line of this falling wedge, are we looking to go long on this? It does have this gap up to 53. I doubt this will get filled, but it's definitely not a bad setup for the 15-minute. Considering I'm not finding many bullish setups, but this is definitely one of them. Disney below 114.7. I talked about this yesterday. Pretty much just using this level as the the low that we are making today. It's still in this gap. Pretty positive this will fill this gap all the way down to 112.5. So if we can get another slow bleed down today, that would be nice. Tomorrow. But we're going to be looking for a 114.7 break down into that gap fill. I'm going to be watching X for continuation. Same thing as MRVL, not the cleanest setup, but I also talked about this in the watch list last night. This is a falling wedge. Had this as one of my bullish setups. This skyrocketed at open. Was up 3% today. Similar setup as MRVL. We have this falling wedge right at the volume shelf. If we get a break north on the trend line, I'll take it. It usually likes to move a little bit differently than the market, so it's nice to have a nice bullish setup when the market's not looking as well. So X and MRVL are definitely two of my most favorite. But we'll keep Oxy on there. Oxy was a great mover today. I actually missed it though because I slept in, but this was a great 30-minute and 10-minute wedge that I was talking about last night, and we got the same thing tonight. If we get a breakdown, I'll take it. If we get a breakout, I'll take it. That's the plan. 15 minutes looking amazing. Great consolidation today and making lower highs and making higher lows. So whatever way this breaks, we'll be taking something. Note, it's up 1% pre-market. So after hours, it's up to 74.57. So I mean, a break of this 74.6 area. This is looking golden. It is right near that all-time high. So let's can see that third day breakout. Definitely going to keep this one on watch. A couple bear setups I'm taking an eye on. The video. It's sitting right at this trend line, and more importantly, let's say it's one. Let's get that 169 support. This has this gap down to 166, and below this trend line, this has a lot of breakdown. I think we could see 150 on this. So we'll be eyeing this trend line. Probably not going to take it tomorrow just because it is an hourly setup, but it might be something we can swing overnight if we do get a breakdown. With the NVIDIA, WFC, Wells Fargo. Talked about this last night as well. Sorry, not Wells Fargo we talked about last night, but this late day breakdown off of this trend line, and we have a giant gap. So we have some support at 44, then below 44 we got nothing to 43.4. So this is going to be another bear setup. Banks aren't looking too hot. They're a little bit down after hours. XLF, the ETF, is in the gap. So definitely have some more room to go down for these bank setups. Got a couple more on here. PLTR below 7.6. This one, sorry, not below 7.6. 7.6 is the next support that I have for PLTR. This looks incredibly bearish. I don't see any support down to this 7.6 level. So if we can get a retest tomorrow, let's say we pop at the open, I'll be looking to short PLTR. If we get a retest, especially of this 8.2 level, this is looking free fall down to 7.6. One other one is Neo. This is up 1% after hours. I'm not really sure why. It broke down below this giant support and honestly has this gap down to 16 and really nothing in between. So with it, but it's up 1.4% after hours. Now it's sitting at 18.55. This might be a pop we have to short in the morning. Of course, we're not going to try to force anything, but if I do see any sort of weakness, I'm going to be looking to short it. I'll probably take a position on the retest of this demand zone toward supply. It's looking like a perfect grounding top breakdown. So that's all I got. MRVL, X, Oxy, top bullish ones, and then LYFT, Uber, Wells Fargo, NVIDIA for my bear setups. And then we have the Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple major supports to keep an eye on. It is a Wednesday. Wednesdays are usually very choppy, and especially with SPY still in this chop zone. We're definitely going to keep the trades to a minimum and keep those A+ setups on our radar. Hope these help, and thank you.